live again on Instagram with the GenWell project. And today we got Julie Mitchell from Torq Ride and a few other businesses. Pretty moving and shaking lady who's got lots going on in her life. Probably amazingly so during these COVID-19 times. So looking forward to the conversation with Julie today. We'll get started here momentarily when she joins us on. Hi guys, welcome. I see John there, and I also see my Humber colleague who we need to get connected with again. Hopefully Julie will be able to join us momentarily. Is that Jules, spiritual warrior? Tanis is here. We got Jules. Julie, is that you as Jules? You, spiritual warrior, Tanis, you can't be on the actual show. Is Jules Lefty, Julie's social media? No, I think she's coming in through Torq. So we'll wait here for a second. I love Tanis. You're like, hey, I want to be a part of this. Hey, you could have been part of this. Oh, that is her. Okay. So here we'll join with Jules. Let's hope that's her. Tanis says it is, and I believe everything that Tanis tells me. Oh, she says unable to join. Oh, Julie, one thing you might need to know is that you have to do this off of your phone and that you can't do it off your computer, because that looks like one of the challenges that we've had with a few of our previous guests. So apologies if I wasn't clear on that. It has to be, you can do it on an iPad or a phone. I actually need to add that into our instructions so that we make sure that people don't try to get us on their computer, which is really comforting because you don't have to hold something or prop it up somewhere. But and I don't know why Instagram doesn't allow you to actually do it through your computer. But we will wait a few minutes and get Julie on. Great to have everybody here. Tanis, great to have you here for, I think, your first connected conversation. Oh, there's Torq Ride. That's even better, because I think that's where we were going. Maybe it's me. I'm here now. How do I get on? Okay, so I've just sent you an invite. Woo!
Hi.
Hi, Julie. Did you try to get on with your computer, or was
I did.
Yeah.
I did. I'm new at this.
Well, hey, to be honest with you, I've sent out obviously the instructions, but I didn't even note on there. We have been, hey, I think everybody's learning, everybody's crossing the great digital divide right now as we all get up to speed on things like Instagram Live, which 5 weeks ago I had never even heard of.
Yeah, we can't tell our children that though.
Yeah, exactly. We all got to be cool. Keep up the facades. How are you doing today?
I'm good. Yeah, today's a good day.
Yeah, well said. And we'll touch on that before we get too far into this. So, Julie, truly excited for this conversation. So many different avenues I think we could go down in regards to the businesses that you run and obviously the community that you've created at Torq. As I think I sent over, we kind of do a couple introductions of what we're here for. And then we'll come back to you and then dig a little deeper into our conversation today, which is really about maintaining our communities during these challenging times. So does that sound like a plan?
Sounds great.
Oh, we've had a little slowdown. Okay, it's good. Okay, sorry, we had a little slowdown there as you were getting set up. So for those who haven't joined us before, and I think there's a few on there, including the lovely and talented Tanis Simpkins, the GenWell project is a human connection movement. Our mission when we launched in 2016 was to be a conduit and a catalyst to remind people about the importance of human connection in our lives, and most importantly, getting them to take action. Our goal was to actually get people connected before the next crisis came, but here it is. So we're continuing to share our message, and we're sharing stories through connected conversations each and every day right now, because we want to keep people connected to the ideas, peoples, and tools that will help them facilitate, a happier and healthier journey through the COVID-19 times. So we're really thrilled to have Julie Mitchell here today to talk about what she has been doing to keep her community connected. And I did forget one thing, is I want to say thank you to all the volunteers who help put the GenWell project on the map, who share our messages. And I think of that both from the people who help us with our content, but every individual who shares a message, who shares a piece of content with their community to awaken people to the importance of this message for all of us during these challenging times. And a huge shout out to Molson Coors and to JP Weisers, who to this point have been the two partners who've stepped up to make the world a happier and healthier place by creating sustainability around the human connection movement. Today, we have Julie Mitchell, as I've mentioned, and here's a little bio on Julie. But from what I hear, powerhouse is probably too light of a word in regards to the role you play in many of the businesses that you run. But in 2006, Julie launched her first business, Parcel Design, a brand strategy communication design firm that has appeared on the Profit 500, Canada's fastest growing companies list twice, and was named to the W100, which recognizes the top women-owned businesses in Canada. 4 years ago, I opened the doors to Torq Ride, an indoor cycling studio, and more recently founded Iterate Strategy, a consultancy that helps build brand-aligned teams to inspire leadership from within. Now that sounds awesome. When I'm asked how I find the time to do all of this, my answer is that I figured out how to leverage our brands to build businesses that are self-managed. By helping you distill and reinforce your brand values through replicate tools and systems, I help teams gain the confidence and the freedom to lead in ways that benefit your entire business. Julie Mitchell, welcome to Connected Conversations, and thanks for making the time today.
Thank you, Pete. Nice to be here.
So when we start off our conversations, Julie, the first thing we ask everybody before we get into business is we want to check in with you, because these are challenging times for everybody. And one of the things we do know from all the psychology people we've had on, and all the mental health experts, and all the positive psychology people, is that it's okay to not feel normal right now, and that we're all going through the ups and downs. And even your response to my first question of how you doing today, you're doing okay. So tell us a little more about how you're doing, and maybe speak to that "today I feel okay" comment that you made off the top.
Sure. Well, first of all, I feel very fortunate for the situation that I find myself in and that my family is in. We're actually delightfully harmonious as a small family of three, but we're getting along quite well, which is really nice. We're lucky for that. My son is also in a fantastic online school program, so it feels good to me for him to be occupied in ways that are good for him. And for me personally, as I said, I definitely have good days and not so good days. More of the good days for sure. I think staying connected to the people that I love has been a really big part of that. And I certainly don't feel isolated. It's very strange not to have a routine. I thrive on being productive and being busy. Not so much these days, and struggling sometimes with some guilt around feeling like those days are not productive enough. So trying to manage that.
Well, I think there's a lot of people that are feeling that way. And I think it's important. We've heard this from the psychologists that, we've come from a fast-paced, distracted, and pressure-filled world, and we've been told to stop overnight or, over the course of a couple of weeks. And I think that the key is to give ourselves permission not to be productive with every minute in the day. And I know it's difficult for people like you who have as you say, you thrived on being busy. You thrived on being productive. And I think that's incredibly powerful. But I think we also need to give ourselves an opportunity to say it's okay when the world has come to such a sudden stop that we aren't always so productive as we once were.
Agreed.
There's a few people, I think, saying hello. I see Backline Guitar. Jenny Simon says hello. And Just Get Fit, who I'm sure are all people within your community who are here to say hello.
They are. Thanks,
so
guys.
I just wanted to call them out and make sure that they knew that they were here. And certainly Linda McCarty, Shelley Boltman's online. Who's that Shelley Boltman girl? You know, so lots of people coming out to say hello. So Julie, I know there's the other businesses, and I'm sure you're going through some ups and downs in the design side of things, and certainly from the strategy. Maybe we'll just touch on that for a second. What role are those playing, and kind of where things are on those side of your life before we get into Torq Ride, which is really where I want to focus our time on today?
Sure. So the new business that we've started is Iterate Strategy, and this is really about supporting high performance teams, encouraging businesses to develop self-managed companies where you let the team rise to the responsibility and the accountability so that you can move the founder out of the way. So we just launched that. We decided to proceed with our launch a few weeks ago. The format for that is really workshops. It's more of a passion project. So I'm not seeing this as a company that we're going to grow into a massive organization. It's really about identifying the areas that I feel most inspired and finding more opportunity for that kind of work. So for now, we've got some great opportunities in the hopper, but it's not quite the focus right now. For the brand strategy firm, our team pretty seamlessly started working from home. So we are definitely down in terms of our labor efficiency. We're probably working at about half the number of billable hours that we normally do, but that team is set up to work from home. We connect on a daily basis. It's informal, lots of joking around. Yesterday we talked about epic fails in our careers and mistakes that we made in our jobs. So that team's doing pretty well, and we expect to, when we get back to the studio, we expect things to be slow, but we'll be okay.
That's awesome. And what I love is that you're already making the effort to keep people connected during these challenging times, because staff, working from home is not something that most of us were never educated on the skill sets that we need to work from home. And so being thrust into that so quickly, and also to homeschooling, to financial challenges, balancing life and work has been a challenge for a lot of people. And I think it's really critical for businesses to keep that connection with their staff and recognize, I always laugh about, if you remember that interview that the gentleman did on the BBC where the kids came in the middle of the interview. This happened about a year ago. And he was taken to task for, how dare you have your kids come in the middle of an interview, when the reality is, I think what we're all waking up to now, because we're in this together, is that we're all human, that we do have lives beyond the four walls of our businesses.
Yeah, so I've warned my son not to come into this room, so hopefully that won't happen today.
Yeah, I love it. Well, I can't guarantee that on my end, just so we're clear. Hey, one of the things I love, and I want to go a little deeper just on your comment or in your bio, the piece about reinforcing your brand values. And yes, it's about delegating and having staff lead. But what role do you think having a purpose and a mission will play for businesses coming out the other side of COVID-19?
Yeah, I think it's critical. And I think the strategies that we had pre-COVID need to be examined to make sure that they're still relevant to our markets. Some of them will be. I know for Torq, our premise, we call it our subtext, we're all about being connected, and more so. So that will be more critical, more important as we come out the other side of this. But certainly it's something that we all need to examine within our companies to make sure that our messaging is still aligned with what the customers need.
Yeah, I think there's going to be more people looking for community connection, support, you know, which all comes from building those communities. And I think a lot of brands who've gone out and created a corporate social responsibility play that isn't really linked to their mission or their purpose will have to go back and relook at that and see, how can I connect it not only to my internal employees and making a difference in their lives, but to my existing customers and potential customers who may come down the road.
Absolutely.
All right, Julie, let's get in. Torq Ride. My good friend who's on here, Tana Simpkins, who connected the two of us because she believed that you were the perfect example of somebody who has taken COVID-19 and embraced their community through these challenging times. Tell us about Torq Ride. Tell us about the journey you've been on, when you opened up, which I think is, I want to see, was it 2 or 4?
4 years ago.
4 years ago. So 4 years ago, tell us about opening up Torq Ride, and what was your original inspiration to make Torq Ride happen?
Sure. Okay. So we've been open actually officially 4 years right now. So we're celebrating our 4th anniversary with our team, with our customers this evening, with a boot camp and a BYOB party, virtual party, of course. So I opened Torq 4 years ago. For about a year previous to that, I was interested in the idea of an indoor cycling studio that was more in line with what I was seeing in some of the big American cities. So just a lot of fantastic studios that were opening, and I felt like we didn't really have that in Toronto. I was in good company because a lot of people were having the same thought, and a number of amazing studios have opened around that time and in the last couple of years. So while I was looking to fill what I saw as a gap in the industry, now we certainly don't have that that gap. One thing that was interesting for us is I had the interesting position of not coming at this as a fitness expert, but more as a brand and business expert. And my firm, Parcel Design, was running well, had a fantastic team in place, and I was just ready for a new challenge, something that would be inspiring and interesting. And why not align that with what you love to do? Fitness is a passion for me. So really developed Torq as a way for me to also get to experiment with, if I was going to build a brand from the ground up and it's my own brand, what would I do? So I got to play customer for my own brand strategy firm and really build it with a lot of intention around our values and around our purpose. So when we opened, we knew that connecting to the community was going to be important. I didn't realize just how big that was going to be for us until we did open. But when we opened, I wanted to build a community around fitness. So we use a tagline at Torq, and it just feels good to be here. And we hear that all the time from our customers. That's just really how people experience Torq and what they believe. And we've done that through bringing on people that really align with who we are. So this concept of being self-managed, I'm not a very good people manager. What I'm good at is delegating. And then I like to just get out of the way and let the really good people around me rise to their capabilities. And that's been a big part of our success. So I'm personally not at the heart of our brand, and that's very intentional. I'm not a fitness expert. I want our experts to be in the forefront. And I recognize that the success of our brand is about making sure that those people's souls are also being fulfilled, and that they're being cherished and valued in a way that they deserve to be. And that's been a big part of how we've attracted pretty exceptional talent, both on the front of house and on the instructor side.
So first off, congratulations on 4 years. I think that's amazing. And I have registered for tonight, and I'm trying to get there for the spin. So looking forward to that. Although I'm not sure if I have a place to do it where I can see screens and stuff, but we'll figure that out.
You don't need a bike. That's just it's a body workout, not a spin.
Oh, okay. But what is it? So I love when you talk about empowering your staff and delegation and really touching them at the core. What is it that you do? Because I think empathetic leadership is going to be more important coming out of COVID-19 than ever before. We need to understand our employees, not as employees, but as human beings first, and then what they do inside the four walls of the business that we run. So because you wouldn't have achieved the success, you wouldn't be celebrating your 4 years if you weren't able to touch people at the core and you weren't able to value them. What can you give me some practical tools and tips, and what are you doing to get people to actually care and give make a difference?
Well, I'd say if I want to think about it internally from a team management perspective, I think the critical thing is understanding your own skill set. And one thing that I learned pretty early on is I'm really good at a couple things, but I am not good at everything. And it's identifying where those gaps are and then finding the right people to fill those gaps. So I think that's something that a lot of entrepreneurs, it takes a little while to get to that place where you understand what it is that you bring to the business and also how you hold the business back. And that's something that is an ongoing process. It's not something that you discover and you're done with it. So I think that's something that I do all the time. And the way that I do that, or the way that applies to my team, is that I think what I'm good at is recognizing the skill sets of the people that are around me. So understanding what drives someone, the area of the business they can be in, and then trying to build around their superpower that they can bring to the business. So I'll give you an example. Our manager, Cheryl, started as a part-time thing. She wanted to work there a little bit so that she could earn her rides. And when she started, what I quickly recognized is that she is an unbelievable connector, and our community adores Cheryl, and they accept her for her quirkiness. She can be a little over the top. We have to sometimes control the message a little bit because she gets pretty excited, but she is a personality that makes people feel good. She is the welcoming committee of our place. She's funny. She's very naturally talented. And in addition to that, she really cares about standards and cleanliness and making sure that our place is spotless. And so that combination is so exceptional to find. But I need to make sure that we've got enough work for her to work in those areas, and that her job doesn't start to feel like it's too focused on the maintenance of the place and the cleaning. So, we've got Cheryl in this role where we're really looking at customer service as part of our marketing offer. And so how can we find more opportunities to put Cheryl in the role of marketing, but it's not the conventional marketing that we think of. So finding opportunities where she can connect with people in a way that reinforces the message that we want out there, that encourages our customer base to bring other people there. And that's been working really well for us.
I love that. And I actually think, your comments about what I'll refer to it as self-awareness, which is your ability to know that you don't have skills in certain areas, is, again, that's part of being a leader, and something that more people will need to deal with as we move forward. I think authenticity is another word that I would use as I listen to you describe yourself and your leadership style. And then I think, your example of Cheryl and identifying great talent and the skill sets they have, I think are three great things for people to hear, who are trying to start businesses, who are trying to manage their way through COVID-19, who are trying to get to the other side of this. So really great insights for some coaching for leadership and for small business. So here we are. We're, I think, 8 weeks into COVID-19. Tell me what COVID-19 has done to Torq Ride. Tell me the challenges that it's created, sure. But now also, and I think we had a conversation the other day, tell me the beautiful things as well. So I think there's both sides of this from your community, and I'd love to hear both sides. So maybe let's start with, what are the challenges that you've kind of faced, and then we'll get to how you've embraced the community. Okay.
So we actually, unlike a lot of businesses, we had a bit of a warm up for this experience, because in July 2018, we were shut down by our landlord, who claimed that the building was about to collapse and we needed to vacate immediately. And that followed about a year of tension with this landlord who was pretty eager to get us out because we didn't fit his vision of what an ideal tenant was. And that was because he purchased the building from someone else. So we had a really good warm up for this, and we learned how to deal with crisis. And what we did was we made decisions really quickly. We moved into a new location. Our community supported us. And I think that's where I really understood the value of our community and how much they cared about making sure that we weren't going to fold because of this unfortunate situation. So when this came around, it felt like it was something that we'd already dealt with in the past. And so we knew immediately that although we were going to be closed, that we would be able to get through it because we matter to our community. And we matter to our community largely because of the way our community connects to each other. So one of the things I've really enjoyed is seeing the friendships that have developed, friendships between members of my team. There are people who they found their best friends at Torq, and that's a common theme. And the same is true for me. And so that's something that I really didn't expect when we opened, but it's been a pretty exceptional piece. So we closed on I think it was March the 13th or 14th, whatever the Sunday was. Like everyone else, we thought, okay, well, we can ride this, pardon the pun, for a couple weeks, and this will be fine. And then we quickly learned this was going to be much longer than we thought. There's been a lot of pressure on us to rent our bikes, and I've been resisting doing that mainly because our bikes are brand new, and our bikes are also unique in comparison to most spin studios in that they have power metric componentry that's pretty delicate and expensive and also under warranty. So it wasn't an option for us to rent out our bikes. So that's been something that our customers haven't really understood why we're not doing that. But it was a very deliberate decision not to do that. It was also a deliberate decision not to ask our customers to maintain their auto renews or to pay us their membership fees while we were closed. That didn't feel good to me. So that was a conscious decision that we made, which was to just freeze everything. And when we open again, we'll unfreeze, and hopefully we won't lose too many of our customers. The amazing thing is we've had so few requests for refunds. I really expected that there'd be a lot of people saying, I need my $77 back, and they haven't. And I've really appreciated that. There've been a few, and I understand that everyone's in different financial situations. So we have refunded the people that have asked us, but that's been a really nice thing that I feel is our community's return to us is saying, hey, we trust you, and we know that you're going to be there whenever things get back to normal, and we'll proceed.
Yeah, I think it's so powerful to hear you talk about your community coming together to support you. And really, what I will say is validate what you've given to them over the 4 years that you've been there, and creating some of the greatest friendships that they have, both you and them. The role of the spin instructors and that they play in bringing that community together. And it just validates the research that shows that the relationships that we build with people, both the ones that are deep with our family and with our closest friends, no problem. Not only do the deep personal relationships we have with friends and family, are they important to our health and happiness, but the casual relationships that we create with people that we see twice a week when we go to our spin classes, those are also really critical to our health and happiness. And I think, the effort that you've made to build that community over 4 years is being rewarded. And again, I do see, I think that from a marketing standpoint, we've seen organizations that have taken missteps along this journey and looked at this as an opportunity to raise prices or an opportunity to, not be forthright with their clients. And I think it's an amazing thing that you've taken the approach of, look, I'm not going to use this as an opportunity to, ask people to pay forward for their memberships and other options that might have been available to you to, try and get more money up front, but said, look, we're going to get through this together. We're not asking anybody for money. If you want your money back, you can have it. But what you're committing to is we're going to continue to build an amazing community that supports each and every person who's part of the Torq community from the minute the government opens up and gives us the opportunity to come back together. And I think that's really powerful, the approach that you've taken.
Thank you. And I want to say, I think that, different businesses are at different stages and different needs. So I'm not criticizing that decision. I know some gyms and some local businesses have needed to do that. I think it's just that we decided that wasn't going to be our course, but it's not a criticism to the people that needed to ask for, the memberships to be retained.
Totally. I wasn't even thinking about your sector, to be honest with you. I was thinking about bigger companies who, whether it was, again, taking other actions that weren't as consumer and community focused and more about, taking advantage of the situation. But those are great. That's a great call out that, everybody's in a different situation in this one. And I think of, and being down in Leslieville, I know that the hospitality industry is a pretty core industry in your community, and another one that we can all step up and support during these challenging times. So I know that you've done things to bring your community together. I know you're doing your ride this afternoon, but I also know you did a fundraiser early on in this journey. Can you tell us a little more about some of the things you've done, whether it's to help others or to build community through this journey?
Sure. So I think in this situation, a lot of us find ourselves wondering, what can we do? How can we help? But we're also asked not to leave our homes, and so how do you do that? So I think people were looking for opportunities to support, and so what we came up with was a way that we could encourage our members to make modest donations to a joint effort to put meals together for people working in the front lines. And again, it was important that the ask wasn't a big one. So what we asked was for $10 donations. What we learned pretty instantly was that people wanted to donate more than $10. So we opened up some different options for what they could donate. And our goal was to raise $2,000 so that we could prepare 200 meals with our partner at Sweat and Soda, a local cafe near Torq. And we met that goal in about 2 hours. And so the fundraising stayed open for the next couple of days, and we ended up raising over $4,000. So we did our first meal distribution. We invited our customers to identify who they knew that could use these meals. And the idea was that we would provide meals to the family. So 4 meals to each person that was named. It was great. It was a lot of work, a lot of effort went into that. And we did the 200, a little over 200 meal delivery. And then with the balance of the meals, we were actually inspired by an idea that another community had initiated, where they were looking at purchasing gift cards from local restaurants and then giving those gift cards to the frontline workers. So a little bit of a double dip of goodness where you could benefit 2 different communities. So that's what we've done with the rest of our funds that we raised. So that one was great. And the next one that we're doing now, I'm really excited about. We know that when we open, there will be a lot of people who just can't afford to come to Torq. Maybe it was something that they prioritized before, and maybe they feel like they need to take a breather from it. And, we could look at discounting rides, we could look at sales, etc. But where we're going to put the focus is on developing what we're calling this ride bank. And what that is a way for our community who maybe isn't as impacted by what's happening to contribute rides to this bank, so that other members who maybe are in financial challenging times can still ride by accessing those rides. So our kickoff for that is our event that we're having tonight. So at last count, we've got 136 people that had RSVP'd to attend. So they're doing the 30-minute boot camp. Then we're going to do a little social cheers, everyone. And for every person that attends, we're contributing 1 ride to that ride bank. So in the spirit of looking for ways that people can donate without it having to be a cash donation, we're going to explore other ways that we can do this. So it might be through energy contribution. So you ride, you know, for every 4 rides that you do, you earn 1 for the ride bank. We can look at having customers donate what's existing in their account into this. But what I'd like to try to avoid is, hey, can you donate cash to this fund so we can help people? It's really a joint community effort. And I'd like to try to do it without it involving cash. So I'm pretty excited about that. And I hope that that's something that takes us through many months and allows people not just a token, hey, you can ride at a discount if you were struggling, we're here to help you, and here's a, you know, here's a modest discount on the rides for a very short period of time. I'm thinking of this as a, you know, a several month initiative that helps a lot of people that self-determine that they need that help.
You know, when you talked about off the top that, you know, ups and downs in the day-to-day of getting through COVID, but there are so many beautiful things that are coming out of this pandemic, and one of them is the greater effort by everybody, and I'll say everybody, and I feel pretty comfortable with that. The greater awareness about empathy and compassion and thinking about other people, and I think everything that you're doing is about making somebody else's day or life a little bit better at a time when, you know, right now we probably all can benefit from somebody stepping up. And whether that's a conversation as part of the GenWell project mission is getting people to reach out to one more person each day or one more team or group, or giving people the opportunity to get some exercise and some health in them. I think it's all great. And kudos to you for really leaning into empathy and compassion, because I think it's amazing stuff, Julie.
Well, thanks, Pete. We're having a great time just thinking through, brainstorming what are other ways that we can do this. And it's not just me; it's the whole team. And there's a lot of really great people, both customers and the staff that are part of this.
That's awesome. So I got a couple last questions. So one is just, how will this change? Well, actually, I'll ask how it changed you moving forward, but how will it change how you approach Torq Ride? You already had a community, but what has COVID-19 done to you? Like, it sounds like an odd question, but you know.
I think it's going to make me, it has slowed me down, and I think I'm going to try to take some of that with me. So just enjoy some of that quiet and some of that less productive, frenetic energy that I seem to thrive on. I'd like to take some of that with me. I think the other thing is that Torq, I never really thought that Torq would be a business that made a lot of money, and it never will be. You know, the capital investment for a business like that is pretty massive, and it takes a long time to pay it off. So early on, I was really focused on these goals. Oh, I'm going to pay it off. It's going to be 4.5 years, and then we're going to be free and clear, and then it's going to be awesome. And then, you know, we had scenario 1 happen to us. Now we've got scenario 2. So what I realize now is we're probably not going to be paying this baby off pretty soon, and that's okay. So I think that what I've learned is that this business really is for the community, and I love what it is, and I participate all the time, and I love being there, and I know that that's how so many other people feel about it. So I've kind of changed my goals around, you know, although I said I never saw it as a big money making venture. It's okay if it just breaks even. You know, in the past, I've always thought, well, why would you have a business if it just breaks even? And in this case, it's okay. We'll be fine, and we'll keep it.
I think, you know, again, making money, we all have to pay bills, but I think there is for all of us. And we started off with that conversation about adjusting some corporate social responsibility play. And I think purpose, and I think the purpose that you have described for the last, you know, 39 minutes is much greater than the profit, given that you have to pay bills and all those wonderful things. But it sounds to me, and sorry, how many people did you say have signed up for tonight's gathering?
136 at the last check that I was given. So, you know, I think there's a lot of people who RSVP and don't show up. If we get over 100 people today, I think that'll be amazing.
Well, I think there's 100 people that today you're about to impact their lives by bringing your community together and supporting one another, both from a health perspective, but, you know, again, tied back to the GenWell project, the opportunity to connect with one another, which is, by research, one of the single largest thing that makes us both happy and healthy mentally and physically. So I think that's amazing. So I want to do two things. Hopefully your community can begin to support the GenWell project more so than even now, which is follow us, get the daily tips on staying connected, which you do each and every day. But when people want to find out more about Torq, where can they go? Where can they find out more? Where can people find more about Julie?
Well, they can find more about Torq at torqride.com. They can certainly follow us on Instagram. We're pretty active on Instagram. If you sign up for an account at Torq, doesn't mean you have to ride, but you'll get our e-blasts that they don't come out too often, probably every 7 to 9 days. We have some communications, usually pretty fun. So that's probably the best way to stay in touch with us.
Awesome. And so I have one last question. Do I actually think I know your answer? No, I don't know if I do. So when this is all over, when we're able to get back to the new normal, what's the first thing you want to do when this is done?
I think having some real fantastic hugs would be amazing. So I hope there's a lot of hugging in our future. I hope that's not something that we're moving away from.
Yeah, I think it's a great comment. And, you know, there's lots of research that shows that physical touch has a lot of health benefits to us, increases or decreases our cortisol, reduces inflammation, you know, good for us on, you know, 1,000 different levels, no different than getting connected face to face. So I think that's awesome. And I too can't wait to hug, to high five, to fist pump, to, you know, elbow bump, whatever people are into, because I think we're missing human connection more so than we've ever missed it in the past. So, Julie, I want to say thank you for your time today. I love what you do. I love the community that you've created. Candace Simpkins is my hero for inspiring people to come out to her class all the time. And having attended it a couple times and not as often as I should, you know, I know the power of community in the setting of a place like Torq Ride. So I congratulate you on 4 years on what you've accomplished. And let me just turn this thing around and get that going again. And just say thank you for your time today, because together we can make the world a happier and healthier place, one spin instruction at a time, even if that in the short term is done virtually.
Yes. Well, thank you so much, Pete. It's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you.
All right, my friend. Have a great weekend.
Okay, you too.
We will talk to you soon. Good luck tonight.
Thank you.
Cheers.
Bye.
Bye.